Good morning. It's afternoon. It's officially 12 p.m. on Sunday, and I wanted to do a video on editing, and this one is really geared towards parents. Um, I wanted to show you how to edit your pictures without Photoshop. So obviously Lightroom and Photoshop is what I use as a professional photographer, and it's really cheap and accessible to everyone now, right? Because it costs like $12 a month to have Adobe Creative Cloud where Photoshop and Lightroom live. So you can use those, but they're really, really complicated. But I wanted to show you something that's free, and it's called BeFunky, and I'm not affiliated with it at all. Now, I do have the premium account, which is $4.95, and I don't use it. I just use it for the sake of this demonstration. So I've opened up befunky.com, and I'm going to go into Photo Editor, and I'm going to upload a picture from my computer, which is like a little goofy picture of my daughter. So obviously I'm going to be going into how to take great pictures of your kids, etc. And I wouldn't even say that this is a great picture. It's just it had some things in it that I wanted to be able to show you how to change. So this was at the end of a shoot a couple of years ago. So her hair is crazy and she hates getting her picture taken. So it was, it was pretty good. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I'm going to show you what to do, but I'm going to show you what not to do as well, okay? And I'm going to show you how to avoid some kind of crucial mistakes that I made when I was starting off years ago editing pictures of my kids. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm in BeFunky, I've uploaded my image, and I'm going to go into Edit, okay? We're going to keep this really, really simple. So there's a button here, and you can press Auto Enhance. And this is going to enhance my image for me. And it does a really good job. It's really, it's really clean. I'm going to show you what it looks like before. So it kind of boosted things a little bit, but it also kind of saturated the greens, and it lightened the shadows, sharpened it a little bit. So it did a pretty good job. And I'm sliding the slider back and forth. And what I'm doing here is I'm just increasing the opacity of the effect on the image. And you would do this in Photoshop too. So I'm going to go down to like 78% here, and I'm going to click on this little tick box, and that's great. So it did a really, really great job. And this is as much as you would want to do, okay? And this is where people make a mistake. They go crazy editing pictures. And it's nuts, and it looks ridiculous. So you see why her hair is really, really crazy. Now, I would never really, if I was going to put this on my wall, I wouldn't choose this picture because her hair was getting blown all around the place. I would choose an image that her hair looked cute and there was just a couple of hairs kind of thrown around the place. But I picked this because I want to show you something really cool. There is something called a clone tool that we use in Photoshop, and we also, it also has it in this. If I can find it now. I'm going to go back into Edit and see if I can find it. Hopefully my internet keeps up with me. Clone. So here's a clone tool, and we use this in Photoshop too, and it's really, really handy for deleting or cloning an area and placing it over something that we don't want, like these crazy hairs right here. So I'm going to click on Source Selection. I'm going to click a source that I want to clone from up here. And then, I don't want a hard brush, I want a soft brush, but I want it to be a little bit bigger. And look at this, you can actually start to paint off the hairs. But you see what happens? It's starting to select from up here in the darker areas. So I'm going to make the brush smaller. I'm going to select another source here. Still pretty harsh. I wonder, yeah, no, it's okay. I want it to be really soft. I'm going to go into that again because the brush size is too big. So I'm going to select a source up here and start brushing. So you can see that you can actually start, it's almost like you're deleting those flyaway hairs. And it's really, really cool. I'm going to select another source to paint off. Oops. I really just wanted to show you this really, really cool tool that you can use to kind of get rid of flyaway hairs. Now, I'm hoping if you had an image, the hair wouldn't be as crazy as this. It was a really windy day, and her hair was getting blown everywhere, but usually you only have, you know, 1 or 2 hairs. But I just wanted to show you how great this is. So again, if you overdo it, it's going to look really weird. But I just wanted to give you an idea. And the great thing about like Be Funky is free. I pay $4.95 for the other version of it. And it's great. You can do this. It does lots of other things too. You can make collages and other fun stuff with it. So I'm going to press the tick box to confirm that I want to keep it like that. And I know what you're thinking, that looks nuts, because you can see where I've painted over it. So what I'm going to do is I am actually going to blur the background a little bit. So I'm going to go into Edit over here, and I am going to go into Blur. I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to increase it all the way up to 30%. It's blurred everything. And obviously I don't want her face to be blurred out. So I want to paint that effect on. So I'm going to click on Paint. And you see this here? I'm going to reverse the brush color. And you can see already that she doesn't look blurred anymore. I'm going to keep a soft brush, a strong brush, and I'm going to increase the size, because I want to brush on the blur in the background and not on my daughter's face. Oops. So you see what I've done there? I've just I painted on her hair, and I didn't mean to. It blurred out a little bit too much. And I'm doing this really quickly. If I really wanted this image and I wanted it to look really good, I would spend a lot more time cloning. So I'm going to click on this eraser, because what it did was it kind of blurred her hair too much. When you can erase it, you can erase that effect, because I blurred the edges a little bit too much. And I'm going to click Correct. Okay, so here's another thing you can do. You can touch up the face. Now, obviously, she's super cute, and I don't want to do too much to her face. But one thing I do like to do with kids, and I do this in Photoshop, but you can do it here too, and it's really helpful. You can whiten teeth, and it's actually quite subtle, which is good. It's not too crazy. But I do like to put little pink cheeks on kids. I'm a kids photographer, and I find that little kids' cheeks, when they have blush on them, because my daughter, she's like me, she's kind of pale, and I don't know whether you can see that, but it's just really subtle, and it's super cute. Another thing I want to do is sharpen her eyes. So in the Edit section here, we have Sharpen. So I'm going to sharpen this. Now, this is something you do not want to do, like over sharpen, but I want your eyes to be sharpened. So again, instead of affecting the whole image, I'm just going to click on Paint. And when I click the reverse button up here, you can see that she's no longer sharpened, but I'm just going to paint this effect on her eyes because I want her eyes to pop. And that's probably even a little bit too much. So you can pull it back and press OK. Okay. So, I mean, it looks so much cuter than it did earlier on. I really, really like this. So, here's the thing. You can click on Tint and add different, you can add an overlay. Well, I'm not going to do that. If you wanted to change it to black and white, you can do that. Let me see. Color. I think that's what I want to do. I want to increase the temperature. a little bit to make the image warmer. So I'm just doing this ever so gently and slowly. And you can see what's happening. I put it up by 8. And because this was taken at sunset, it's bringing out those lovely gold hues that were in the image. So I'm just going to click OK. And I like it. So here's another thing. I want to brighten her up a little bit so she stands away from the backdrop. So I'm going to go onto Edit. And I'm going to move down here. I'm going to click on Levels. And this is so cool because it's just like Photoshop. And I'm going to click on the one here because I want to affect the highlights. This white arrow over here, or triangle I mean, and I'm going to bring it to the left. And I don't know if you can see that, it just brightened the image somewhat, the whole image. But I don't want to brighten the whole image, so I'm going to do that paint thing again where I reverse it. You always want to keep your brush soft when you're brushing, using it in either in Photoshop or in programs like this. And I'm going to increase the brush size a little bit more. I'm going to reduce the strength. And I don't know if you can see this, but it's actually really brightening up her skin. So I just want to do that on her and just by doing that you can see it's made the sun that was coming through the back of her hair. It just makes everything kind of pop. Okay, so let's say I had cloned it really nicely and she didn't have this crazy thing in her bangs. I'd be really happy with this image and I would save it. Okay. I would actually save that to my computer. So this is what I want to show you what not to do. Okay, because when you start off editing pictures and you discover filters and word art and all that kind of good stuff, people go crazy and that's not a good idea. So I'm going to go into effects. Okay, here are the things. Okay, black and white, great. Black and white I love. I like that one. No, not that one. But, you know, that's great. Black and white, really great. Timeless, wonderful. Here's what not to do, okay? Don't turn your kid into a cartoon. Now, these are all things I did years ago when I discovered filters, and it was like, oh my gosh, that is so amazing. It's not. It's really corny, and it's really cheesy, and you don't want to put it on your wall. Yeah, no. Okay, so there's so many of these different filters that you can do. Yeah, no. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, this, when I started off, I think I edited all my pictures like this, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. It really isn't. So you want to be really careful about oversaturating your images, or just over anything. So ignore these things. They're not cool, they're not trendy, and they look silly. Here's another thing. Oh man, I want to put a frame. No, don't do that. Graphics. Oh, well, it's summer, and it's like I could put like seashells, and it would be so cute. No, don't do that either. Okay, these are all things you don't want to do. It looks silly. So there you have it. This is about as much as I would edit this picture, even in Photoshop. And I know you're probably thinking, does that really do anything? It's really, really subtle. But I'm going to show you the before and after, just so you get an idea. So there's the before. And there's the after. So before, after, before, after, before, after. And even here, this green is actually a little bit oversaturated. For me, I don't like that so much. So even I went a little bit over the top here. But it's just a really simple edit. And again, I wouldn't choose this picture anyway to put it on my wall. I just wanted to show you that if there was one or two stray hairs, that you could clone it in Be Funky and get rid of that. But there's the difference. You want to keep it subtle. Okay, before, after. So that's it. And I hope that was helpful. So the website again is befunky.com. And it's not only a photo editor, you can design other fun stuff in there. I've never used it before. You can make invitations or whatever. There you go. And it's free, or you can pay $4.95 a month. Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed it.